Welcome to the Lifeboat Live. We have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. With me, as always, is Captain Mark Wages. He's on the other side of the glass. And we are glad that you are here with us this evening. This is our Friday here on the Lifeboat. So let's take care of a little bit of business before we get on to the topic of the day. You may have noticed that our memberships are going to be up and running officially. And you can go in there and get a read of, hey, good morning, full of hope. And you can read what all of that means. As we said in the past, people, it's not changing anything here. It's not. But every day people reach out to us and we get emails, and I mean in the dozens weekly, of people that say, what can I do to help? And a couple of things that we want everybody to know, because I think it's kind of important with what's going on. The purpose of this boat has never been to drive a Ferrari off of people getting sober. The reason that we're doing what we're doing is the cash that has come in, and I'll tell you something, it's been thousands of dollars. You guys have been very generous. And all of that money and the stuff from AdSense, which is what we get paid because we are a monetized channel, all of that funds, with very, very small exception, an exception I will show you, has gone back to people on the lifeboat. Yep. Every penny. We've been able to use this stuff to help some people get into recovery, to help some people who were in a really bad way. In every single instance, no one that ever asked for it. We don't allow people to go that route, because obviously it'll turn us into something that we don't want to be. This right here is the only money that has ever come in to the lifeboat that was spent on anything other than the crew. And I did get a really cool microphone. I'm not going to lie to you. This is the Christmas number right here, right there.
That's channel stuff, though, too.
It is.
I want to point that out.
But I love it.
I know.
I really do. I am so fond of my. This is not just a microphone. This is a Yeti Blue, and a shout out to Stefano, Lady Crispin's son, who helped me to pick this thing out. He said to me, "No, what you want is because I don't know anything about anything. You guys know that."
I appreciate him too for that, for the graphic he sent. Guys, every time you see the little Captain Tommy,
oh yeah, right,
character, little caricature that's on our a lot of our thumbnails, my son did that. So
yeah,
awesome.
the virtual, the virtual Tommy was something that he got for us. So that's
it's really cool.
Ben Genetics, so good to see you, my brother. You are always in my thoughts and prayers. Truthfully, always. I love you, my man. So those memberships are going to come up. You can look and see what it boils down to. I'm going to catch some emails, I guarantee, because on the top tier, it says that you get basically private access to the 2 captains. And here's what it boils down to. If you need help from us, you're going to get it. That doesn't matter whether you're a member of anything. You're always going to get that. However, there are people that just want almost like a coach. And very often it's not for them. The people that really reach out and ask about this all the time, hey, is there any way I could pay you to just do this, or this? And we don't want to go down that road because we're not mercenaries, right? We don't ever want to feel like we're mercenaries.
Right.
You know, what we're doing because we feel like, you know, this is what we're supposed to be doing. But you can't work with 4,000 people, right? Not on a one-on-one basis. So doing this gives people that, you know, really feel like they need to love the direction this boat is going. Thanks, Space Diesel. But this is really just a way for us to give back. And not. Go, please.
Can I explain this just a little on that?
Absolutely.
I just want to give everybody a kind of a thing of what's actually happening and how that works, guys. Once we turn them on, we can't turn them off, because if we turn the memberships off, that means anybody that was a member loses their membership immediately. So that's kind of why we've waited this long, because we wanted to make sure everything was right.
Right.
And so we're doing that. But you can see that each time, if you guys look at the tiers, and you'll see that at the end of the show or whatever, you guys can go in and look at them. They're not on right now. We're going to turn them on at the end of the show. But when you go look at the tiers, if you get the bottom tier, you're cool. You know, you get member, you get your name will turn green in the chat. You'll get a badge. It'll be a little badge on the side, and it's stuff like that. But you also get some really cool special emojis that only you can use. Members can use it. We have something called member only chat. I can turn that on, and only members can chat if I wanted to do that. And we're going to have a members only live stream. We're going to do that, I think, once a month or something like that. Me and Tommy talked about. Yeah. And it'll be something
minimum of once a month.
It'll be something over and above what we already do. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So nothing's going to change on that. But anytime you go up a tier, you get everything from the previous tier.
Correct.
Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody understood that. So, but anyway,
and a big shout out to Captain Mark for putting a crap load of effort into this. I mean, I probably didn't need to mention that, because you guys know that that's not really my forte, but Mark has put an awful lot of effort into this. I'm going to be posting over on the Facebook group page every bit of information you could ever want on this. Mark's made it really self-explanatory. If you do have any questions, reach out to us, but it is really pretty clear. And each time you move up, as he said, you're still getting everything below you. Don't get it confused like, well, I liked everything on 2, but all right, so that's enough of that. Okay. We'll be talking about this more, but we don't want it to take up too much of the show ever. But the biggest thing to remember is, if you're not a member, it's not going to change squat of what we're doing right here. It's not. It's just giving people an opportunity to help out, and we appreciate all of you. We do. So today we're going to be talking about positive and negative, and you know what? The timing is perfect, for real, because there's stuff that goes on. Brittany has eyes. Yes. So good to see you, Brittany. Hey, Fiona Crispin, good to see you. Got the whole crew. So we do everything within our power to be a positive channel. Obviously, people, we deal with some really heavy stuff, right? We talk about some really, really heavy stuff. And, you know, it's not just the drug use, but the underlying factors. As we say so often, drug use is, more often than not, it's a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem itself, right? There's something causing us to get high. And we've had some really heavy discussions. We've had people come in here and talk about things. I remember very specifically one of the episodes that actually ran us out of here. We left for a little while because there was a person talking about being molested by a family member, a grandfather, as my memory serves me right. And somebody in the comments section asked the person if they enjoyed it. And it broke our hearts. Yeah. You can wail on the two of us, and we take it pretty well. We really do. It was pretty frustrating when it started to happen to the crew. And you know what? We took off, and we had a show that went up sometimes 3 times a day. We were doing 3 hours a day of live, so that everybody had a place to go. But it didn't get any bigger. And the truth of the matter is, and we've talked about this a lot recently, if you're not giving it away, then you're missing out on the biggest part of what we've got. It's not getting sober that really keeps you sober. It's giving away sobriety to other people. It's building, right, bridges. It's building relationships. It's connection, right? The opposite of addiction is connection. So in order to continue the boat growing, we came back. And it was really funny. If you never heard the story, it was funny because we sat around, and then both of us kind of went insane and literally fired off a message to the other person. So Mark sent me a message, and our messages crossed in cyberspace. And to paraphrase, both messages said, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're preaching to the choir literally. There's nobody else that we're not getting anybody else into the fold. So we really focused for a period of time on trying to make this as positive a platform as we could. And in the process of doing so, we came up with that little video we talk about in the beginning. And we came up with rules and we tried to stick to them. And you know what? There was a period of time, no lie, where I think I was getting like 70 death threats a month. And that has gone down dramatically. Honestly, the people that hate me for the most part, you know, they've gone their separate ways or done whatever they're doing. And, you know, we didn't give them a lot of time anyway, but we gave them too much time. Because, you know, when you're first doing this, it was not so much my partner, but me. But when you're first doing this, you get...
It's hard. It's hard not to respond. It really is.
It's hard not to respond when people throw mud at you or worse. And when they start throwing it at people that you care about, that gets really tough too. And when they start sending, you know, nude photos to family members or saying things about, you know, people in your family who are deceased, it's really hard to keep, you know, trudging forward. But we did. And we've gotten to the point now where we joke and call them Schrodinger's squirrel, because I don't know whether or not they exist.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm not looking in the box. I truthfully could not tell you if any of them are still alive or still out doing their thing. They used to do about 4 videos a week talking about how much they hate me and Mark, but I don't even know if they're still out there. We do not look. The reason I bring this up, people, is because we have been talking recently about some pretty heavy stuff, and people have you know, you can mistake what we talk about as political. There was a comment last night in the comment section where somebody said, "Breaking your own rules, huh?" Let me explain something to you people, right? First of all, let me explain this. I love all of you. I really do. I don't care what party you vote for. That does not affect how I feel about anybody on this lifeboat. That's a fact. But let me explain to you what politics are, right? In this day and age, you want to know what politics are? Do you believe that abortion should be legal, or do you think it shouldn't? And don't comment in the comment section. I'm giving you an illustration, right? I don't want to know your opinion on this. That's politics. Do you think that gun rights, you know, should we have stronger gun rights, or the Second Amendment should be for everybody? You know, all of this, that's politics. That's the stuff that people can argue about. And it is legitimately stuff you can argue about. Why? Because it's an opinion. And politics very often are based on opinions. Okay? The current administration yanked a stink load of people off the southern border whose job it was to make sure that Fent didn't come across this border, and neither did people that weren't supposed to be here. That's a fact. That's not politics. 15 tons of dope got seized at the border last year. Fent. That's not politics. That's a fact. So if we come out, we say something about that. We're not bagging on a political party. Really funny story. Not the last rant, which was yesterday, but the rant before. I came out and I started talking about, you know, the history, the Sackler family, all the way down. And I talked about where we really went wrong, where we really had a chance to nip this in the bud and didn't. And that was the first George Bush administration decided to not prosecute the Sackler family. Why? Because they were getting paid off. Plain and simple. The amount of money that they were donating was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And they had people in at the Food and Drug Administration. Is that an opinion? I don't know. The day the guy quit, he got hired at Sackler. So I'm guessing that's not an opinion. Okay. Then I went off and said the second chance we had was during the Obama-Biden first term. And I explained why they screwed up there. And when that was over, the following day I got a little over my average number of death threats and hate emails. The funny thing is, it doesn't matter which political party was hating on me, but suffice to say it was only one of them. How is it that I offend both parties? I hacked on both parties. So let me clear this up for one last time, because it needs to be cleared up.
Yep.
Mark and I are dyed in the wool, right, to one direction. We are probably the 2 biggest proponents you will ever find for the lifeboat party.
Yep.
Our politics end where it comes into contact with drugs in this country. If you're a Democrat, or you're a Republican, or you're an independent, or if you're anything short of a Nazi, but you come up with a way to keep dope out of this country, a nuts and bolts way to make things stop, maybe something common sense like maybe you should have to have a company that makes pills to buy a pill press. Maybe it should be against the law, right? To be able to buy a press to make pills that are killing 400 people a day, but that's legal, right? Okay, the party that comes out and toes that line, we're going to vote for. I guarantee you, both of us will. I'll be proud to tell you that I voted for him.
100.
And I don't give rat's backside what party they happen to be from. So to those of you who think we're left-wing freaks and these left-wingers, they want, safe injection sites. Okay. And for those of you who want to call us MAGA people and this and that, I voted for Johnny Scoville in the last election, right? Plain and simple. So I'm not going to be. It frustrates me when people will put in the comment section, he's breaking his own rules. No, I'm not. If I come on here and tell you what party to vote for, if I come on here and start bringing up political topics, these are facts. Go research and prove me wrong. Seriously, take you out to dinner, right? On me. Go prove any of the things that we're saying are false. These facts have to come out. Why? Well, you know what? We want to get sober here. We want you to tell us uplifting stuff. We don't need to hear this information. Fantastic. I would love that. So you tell us, right, my partner and I, who's doing these stories that we're doing so that we don't have to do them, and we'll just send everybody over there. Hey, when you're done with the lifeboat, make sure you go over and watch this, because they're going to be talking about nitazines. Do you know how long it was after we did our story on nits that anybody broke that story? 6 months. And you know who broke it? A television channel this big. It wasn't any of the big channels.
Yeah.
You can pick your favorite reason why they are not telling this story. My gut says they have a narrative. They're going to stick with it, right? And you know what really proves this? Okay, and you know what, folks? Facts. These are facts. Okay, so we just had an election. I don't care what the election results were. It has nothing to do with this story. The question, what has to do with this story is this. There was a large group of people who wanted very much to make sure that these people that we were stopping people at the border. Previous administration said you turn them away. And they were going to repeal that law. And everybody and their brother on a particular party said, damn right, we're going to repeal that law. Now they've decided they don't want to repeal that law anymore. You know the only thing that changed? The election's over. That's politics. That's BS. I'm glad that they're going to start turning more people away. It's pretty damn sad, though, that for the purpose of politics, they allowed a superhighway full of dope to come across the border and kill people that we know. Sorry if that offends you. I really am. So I don't want to run anybody off the lifeboat. It's the last thing in the world I want to do. But if your political affiliation, if your ideology is more important than your sobriety, that's the reason we hung a sign on the wall that says exit. And I know it's immature to go, hey, beat it. I know it is. And I apologize. It's probably residual from a whole lot of hate from a whole lot of people, right? If you knew people, every time, if I go like this, Biden, right? Or T-Mac, I say either of those names, I'm going to get a flurry of hate mail tomorrow. And that's frustrating because these are subjects that have to be talked about, right? We've said from Jump Street, we're a Live Your Best Life channel, to be sure. But make no mistake, right? That revolves around not doing drugs, right? Sorry, but that's really what this is about. People, do you know how easy it would be to get paid? You realize that there are levels of monetization, right? They have the level where, yeah, anybody will run an ad on your spot. You don't really get paid much for it. Then you get the ads like, Mercedes might run an ad, but you better not say coke, heroin, fentanyl, any of these. You say, I just literally killed the video. Just then. Because the big red button computers, they don't understand that we're telling you not to do these drugs. They think we're coming out because all they're doing is running it through a machine, right? That AI thinks we're here going like this. Boy, that fentanyl's a good time. And you might want to get a little cocaine too, right? Balance it out. Like, honestly, that's what they think this channel is. We're a drug channel. We're going to keep doing that. because this has been about saving people from the word go. So if you're here and you say, you know what, Mark and Tommy are a little bit too left wing for my liking, well, then your sobriety probably doesn't mean much to you. Maybe when you're really wanting to get sober, you won't care about what the messenger thinks. You'll be interested in the message. Or those of you who think that we're, MAGA nuts, or I can't remember exactly what the phrase was. It was a pretty funny one, but I don't remember telling anybody who to vote for. I really don't. Other than to say, write to your local elected official and ask them what they're doing about dope. I never said, make sure you write just the Democrats and ask them what they're doing. Or, you know what, get the Republicans up. I don't give a crap. I really don't. You may not believe that, right? But I don't care. Neither does my partner. We're here for one reason. Do we have opinions? Yeah. They got nothing to do with this program. And we've never once brought them here. When we talk about an elected official of any kind, we're bringing facts to the table. And we're bringing them to the table because, as we said the day this show started, right? Literally, we're never going to talk about politics unless politics and drugs hit an intersection. If those two cross paths, we're not shying away from that. And unfortunately right now, since the number one cause of death in our country from 18 to 50 is fentanyl, and fentanyl comes from the beast from the east, and our president spent 3.5 hours talking to the leader of that country and failed to mention the word fentanyl, I have a problem with that. So does my partner. I don't care if you like the guy. I really don't. You can like whoever you want. The question becomes, what's he doing to keep the people that we care about alive? And the sad truth is that the people we care about, they don't care about. They don't. And that's both sides of the aisle. It's both sides of the aisle. But it's really hard to crap on the other one because they're not in the White House, right? I don't care who gets in next time, but God almighty, please pray that they're going to do something about this, because the numbers are a lot higher than they're telling us, plain and simple. And I think that covers that. So, as far as being nice to one another, the comments section in here needs to remain a place that makes us proud of the lifeboat. You realize that the defining characteristic of this place has got nothing to do with me and nothing to do with my partner. Honestly, it's got nothing to do with the exit sign or the cat in the basket. What makes this channel what it is how people feel when they get here. Unfortunately, if you spend enough time together and you form those kind of bonds and you love each other that much, if somebody comes in and says something that doesn't sound like everything else that's said, it's really easy to go, them, us, them, us. That crap isn't going to fly. We can't have that. Do you know what makes an us here? Do you know what the price of admission at the lifeboat is? Addiction, or the love of someone who's addicted. That's it, right? There's nothing else. I don't care if you've been here 15 minutes, you've been here a year and a half, whatever. We're going to, we used to say the default setting needs to be Chi-Chi. For those of you who haven't been here long enough, she's just the sweetest person in the world, right? Even when you got her mad, she's sweet. We want the default setting to be love. Across the damn board, the default setting is going to be love. So if you're going to make a mistake, let's make it on the love side. Whatever. We're going to... There you go.
That's Johnny. Johnny's in the room. Gotcha.
So look, when I did this yesterday, was that based in love? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Admittedly, it was not based in love. However, I have no desire to run anybody off. Ever. I don't. But I do not want people here who are here perched on the edge of their seat waiting for me to say something so that they can send a death threat to me and my family. Right. Let's all just concentrate on this sobriety thing, because you know what? It's base camp. Honestly, don't think for a hot second that this is the finish line. And by the way, don't crap on anyone. I had to delete a comment today. I'm not going to say who I deleted it from. There was a comment left on last night's video from someone who said, I'm not going to be needing the channel anymore. Right? And it's somebody you all know. I didn't take down his comment. I'm not mad at him. The reason he's not going to need the channel is because he found a local group meeting and he's going to go to it. Booyah,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Awesome. if he'd rather be doing this in person, then we won the lottery, right? We got him into the next phase.
Exactly.
There you go. God bless you. You know, I said, stop back from time to time and let us know how you're doing, right? Let us cheer you on.
Right.
But somebody left a really ugly message. I mean, holy hell, people. He didn't say, screw you guys, I hate you and everything you're doing. He said, I found a local group. Yeah. The default setting is going to be love, man. It's going to be.
And let me say this too, Tommy. You know, guys, we make mistakes too. And,
yeah.
And we come on here and we tell you guys when we make them. And if we're called out on something that we've said, typically we'll, come back on here and say, hey, this is what happened. This is, I probably shouldn't have said that. Like Tommy corrected himself on the exit thing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is that really a big deal? Probably not all that huge of a deal, but he felt
it wasn't.
Yeah, it was
it wasn't the right thing to do.
Right,
it wasn't.
Right, but the thing of it is, you came here and talked about it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and you know what? I mean, let's be really honest, people. We have said own your mistakes from the word go. I actually had an email about 4 days ago of someone who said, one of your problems is you've never been wrong. I guess they missed a video about Cindy, right? I guess they missed the Cindy Lamb video or any of the others where I have owned up to things that I would really have loved to never tell anybody on this planet.
Yep.
But we're going to be positive today because the title of this is Positive and Negative. But before we do, we should get rid of Johnny Scoville because you never know where he's going.
What's up, Johnny?
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Hey, brother.
I was listening to the beginning of the show. You guys have some drama, but I have to tell you, if you factor in the fact that so many people that are watching this are like, it's not easy getting sober, and there's so many people that are on edge that it just takes the guy giving you the wrong change at a gas station and you'll pop a coil. So if you factor that in, honestly,
you make a great point.
It is
because, in all honesty, I mean, we've done, I think, 5 of these in 500, right? We've done this exact kind of show, and I'm only doing this for, we're getting into the meat of the show, but we've only had to do this a few times. So I think we're really blessed, but I also don't think you can let it run wild because then you end up, I don't want to lose control of what we got here because it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It is.
I think that's our silver button you got back there. You package that up and mail that to.
I'll give it to you someday. I wanted to share a funny story that happened in the last couple of days. I'm doing a filming of something that we sort of can't really talk about, but
are you?
Huh?
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was on the set with filming, and one of the previous days in a different state we were filming, and a couple people that at one point really, really hated Tommy and hated me. And was not shy about it. We're there, and it turns out they're actually in this thing that we're filming. And I didn't really have an opportunity it wasn't a rub elbow with with this person in the previous time I was around him, but this time it certainly was. And I'm proud of myself. Listen, I'm proud of that, but I'm way more proud of my sobriety because I have to tell you something. Tommy, how many times have I derailed just because of me 15 years ago? It all happened 15 years ago. I would have knocked his teeth out 2 days ago, and I would have blown whatever thing I got going, just like that. I would have done that. And as it is, he and I have talked. He apologized to me.
I'm sure he mentioned how much he cares about me.
We haven't got there yet. But listen, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Go in all seriousness, that's a huge step.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And
it absolutely is.
I think it applies. I think it applies what we were just talking about. I really do because
it does.
Because that's really what when drama does happen. I think for the most part, even on both sides, even if you're the one with the drama or the one taking the drama, I think both people or parties or whatever you want to say, they really want to have a solution.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, sometimes you like we say in the intro, there are people that like to hate for the sake of hate. Which is
there's a fact to that.
Yeah. Yes.
I also don't think sometimes if you've never actually run a YouTube channel, it's hard sometimes to understand. I'm a really positive guy on my channel, and you only see the videos I put out. I never talk about the unsavory stuff, like the emails I get and the comments and messages I get. I get a lot of them.
You get hate stuff?
Believe it or not. Well,
No.
I think I can see more. I can not understand it, but logically speaking, I can see why it would happen more on your channel because there are people, that.
Well, a lot of people who are continuing to when you're, this was one of my things. I remember when I was in the life, someone would say, so and so is sober. And 100 out of 100 times, my first reaction was, yeah, whatever. Trust me, he's getting high when people aren't looking. When you're still doing dope every day, the thought that somebody isn't. So I mean, we a lot of times like they're looking for the scam. They're looking for the.
But it goes
I get that. I'm not mad about that.
It goes right back to the very beginning of the thing you post, the little clip in the beginning. There absolutely are people in this world who just get a charge out of trolling and
hate,
celebrating the victory of others.
Yes, there's something to that for sure. And what's proof of that is that it goes across all genre. If it was just in one genre, we might not be able to say that, but it's everywhere. Right. It's everywhere.
It's human nature. If somebody's doing something or achieving something that you wish you could be doing, whether it's sobriety or running a channel, whatever it is, if somebody's doing something that you wish you could do and you're not, then if you're not, both of your oars are not in the water, you can.
It's another, and then I'll get off of this subject, but what another phenomenon that I think people lose sight of? When you watch a television show, right? You're not an actor. You've never made a television show, right? You're just being entertained by Brad Pitt or whoever happens to be on your television. However, if you think about the phenomenon of the big red button, right? We're on here with 57 million of our closest friends, most of whom, they don't have memberships. They have channels, right? Yeah. So the vast majority of people that watch anything on the big red button also make their own stuff. So those who can, create, and very often those who can't troll. So they give it a shot, and then when it doesn't work out, they get really angry at anybody that's successful, and they actually get some views and they actually get some attention, which is, there are people who come to this platform for mass amounts of attention. There are people who come to this platform with a mission. It was really funny. Last year, we had somebody that was on the channel, and they were doing something with it, getting their own going, and they asked for advice. And I said, well, what is it you're trying to get done with the channel? And it was the cricket sound. Like, huh? Well, I mean, is there something you're trying to get done? You really wanted to put peppers on the map. Like, I remember when you really started to get it off of the ground, you just wanted to see the pepper community grow. And then, we had a mission from the very first day we got started. It wasn't about seeing how many subscribers we could get or how many clicks or any of that stuff. We were hoping to get at least one person sober. And
that's everything.
Thank God it's gotten bigger than that. Is that?
That's everything. I'm going to just say this, and then I'm going to log off and listen to the rest of the show. But I've told people from the beginning, if you want people that start a YouTube channel, it's usually just to get rich and famous. And if those are the reasons you start a YouTube channel, I swear to you, you're not going to get either one of them. Both of them
buy lottery tickets.
It's the truth. But here's
better bet.
People that do start a channel because it's a passion. It's something that really, really matters right in here, then they're going to get both. Because all the while, for somebody's doing it for money, first of all, it takes so long to earn a dime on YouTube. It's not funny. It really, really does. So for people that are doing it for money, it's very difficult to work with no paycheck for 2 years or 3 years with the hopes that maybe it'll pay off later. Most people just don't have the constitution to do that. So
they're too smart. One or the other.
I didn't give a hoot about the money. It didn't matter. I was just having fun making videos. So, when I wasn't making a penny, I was still having a ball because it was fun.
Exactly.
The other thing is that the fame of YouTube hits way before the money does. So even when you have a smaller channel, I only had a couple thousand followers. Everybody pretty much kind of knew who I was already, it seemed. So it takes a long time for those, if you follow your passion is the most important thing. But that's why this is working, because number one, you're passionate. Number two, we have a platform now where people can become, whether you like it or not, it's infectious, and you become invested in somebody else's sobriety. And the minute that happens,
Amen.
that's it. You come back and you're not just worried about your own sobriety, you're checking on other people's and see what their count is.
Amen.
So anyway, I love you guys both. I love the boat.
Love you, brother.
All right. Thank you, John.
Love you, man.
Appreciate you calling in.
Peace.
All righty, people. We're going to bring back something that was a very large part of the lifeboat in the beginning. And I would imagine if you're new here, you probably never saw this, but it has to come back. And we're going to do it tonight for, I can't remember the exact, it's MAGA something. Big MAGA.
Ultra MAGA.
Ultra MAGA, there you go. It's Ultra MAGA something. Mm-hmm. Said the most important thing is his sobriety. And he talked about how this is something that we used to pull out all of the time. And then I think Squirrel actually might have picked it up and run off with it. No, it's quite heavy. I don't know exactly where it went, but this was a participation trophy, which started out as a joke that someone asked about. But this is out to you and to everybody else that's fighting the good fight. So let's talk about positive and negative. A really cool study has been done just recently last 3 years, where they started to look at things like motivation. And they started to look at when you have a kid, right? And your child is coming of age where they might experiment with drugs, or they might start with tobacco or any of those things, sort of the gateways into making mistakes. The things that we do to try to keep them off of them, right? You smoke a cigarette and I see you with it, right? I'm going to shove that thing down the back of your throat. You are never going anywhere ever again, blah, 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 right? If, I find out you drink, you're going to be grounded until you're 37. Right? You're not going to a prom. You're never going to drive. I'm taking away your shoes. We set up all of these things of what we're going to do to ensure that our kids don't do drugs. This is called negative, right? Reinforcement. And it doesn't work. Plain and simple. Like the studies have come out, and it's a very bizarre study because they didn't just study this on kids, because they do it to us all the time as well, right? If you go in today to buy a pack of cigarettes, there's going to be something on the back of it, and it doesn't say, hey, smoking these are good for you, right? It started out in the beginning that said cigarettes contain chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer, right? Boy, they've jumped that up, haven't they? Now it says cigarettes cause cancer, and they've got like skull and crossbones and all kinds of other stuff. Well, when these warnings first came out, a company opened up, and it really wasn't a company, it was a division of a much larger tobacco company. And they put the skull and crossbones directly on the front of the package, right? They made the entire package a warning. There wasn't even and they called them coffin nails. This company was outselling everybody. They have found through research that not only do those warnings on the back of cigarette packs not deter people, they may do the exact opposite. Truthfully. You see, there was a period of time where people went, well, I know that they're probably not good for you. And you kind of ran this through their head. But once they beat it down your throat, it's no longer frightening. It's there every single day. People are like, nah, whatever, right? No one lives forever. Well, it's going to knock 10 years off of my life. Well, it's not going to knock 16 to 26, right? It's going to take 86 to 96. You can have those years. I don't want to live. You've heard it all, right? You've heard all. So that kind of reinforcement doesn't work. It doesn't work with kids. Then, over a period of time, as you begin to get older, those kind of things between the ages of about 30 and 60, it actually starts to work, right? It actually starts to work. Then it stops again. So the two most dangerous parts of society for this just plain not working are kids up until the age of about 17, and then people from the age of about 65 till they're no longer with us. Okay. Yeah. So the phenomenal thing is not so much that as it is the other side of the equation. For instance, I don't know if any of you have ever invested in the stock market or bought cryptocurrency or done anything like that. But as part of this same study, they tracked a group of people, and they looked at how often these people go to look at their investment portfolio online. And a really funny thing happened. When the stock market is up, these people go 4 and 5 times a day. When things are on the rise and their portfolio is looking great, they stop by and visit it constantly. Why? I don't know. I guess they like looking at it and going, damn, we're killing it. Okay? Look at this. Good stuff. Because negative doesn't work. if it's going in the opposite direction, that probably would be the smarter time to look at it, right? Boy, if this goes down anymore, I'm going to have to either, put a stopgap in. I'm going to have to cut my losses or whatever. No. When the stock market goes down, and I'm not talking about big investors. I'm talking about human beings. They'll quit going to it until they hear that it's going back up. They will not even look. So you may be saying to yourself, what the hell does this have to do with anything? Where this really gets important is that you can do this to yourself. For real. Very often when you start trying to quit doing drugs or quit doing or booze or any of the things that you're trying to habits that you're trying to break, could be overeating, could be doing anything, gambling. We paint these unbelievably negative things in our head where I got to stop doing this or this is going to happen. It doesn't work, people. It doesn't work. The same study started to take people who were trying to quit smoking. And it was fascinating because these people were in an inpatient program and they would go to groups each day. And one of the groups would come in and they would talk about cancer. They would show pictures. They would show what lungs looked like after they were smoked and just completely bombard these people with as much information as they could possibly get to them, showing them that these things are going to kill you if you don't stop smoking. Across the hall in another room, they went the complete opposite direction. They got in there and went, cigarettes are not good for you. We all know that. Let me show you what's possible if you stop using. Fascinating stuff, really. Please pray for my brother Ricky. He relapsed 2 days ago and is missing in action. Everybody hear that?
Yeah. Get a 1 in the chat, guys, please.
Please. And this is for Robert Schultz.
Yes.
Please, everybody.
Yeah, he's missing in action. We don't like that.
No, we don't. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers, please, going out to Robert Schultz. Yeah, we get some 1s in there.
Yeah.
Robert, my thoughts and prayers are with you. And I know that this is a really difficult time. The number of times I went MIA, there's hope, but I promise you the boat is going to do their part with thoughts and prayers. And if you want to reach out to me, please do so. Depending on where you are in the world, just reach out to me, please. If you don't mind. All of my contact information is in the Dropbox. And if I could get a moderator to throw up my my email contacts and marks, please, that would be great.
Yes, please.
My thoughts and prayers with Robert Schultz's brother, please. No, of course, man. Your family, of course.
That's 100%. That's why we stopped shows for that, guys. So
no question. That's
why.
Way more important than what we're talking about.
That's and I want to give props here to Joanne real quick too, and we'll get back to the subject. She said I popped it up there a minute ago. She said she's 7 days without a cigarette, nicotine.
Good Lord. Not a girl, Joe.
That's a huge thing. I don't know if people that have never smoked have no idea how huge that is. I don't think.
Vicious nicotine is.
Yeah.
Gets into the system. Honestly, like it's been studied, there are very few things on this planet that affect you faster than a cigarette do. Right? That you inhale a cigarette and instantly the effect has that it has on the body. I've been smoking since I was 15, 30 now, starting to really feel it. Johnny Law, I absolutely believe that because it has that effect. So in this study, across the hall, they got a whole new group of people. They're all doing the same thing, right? These are 2-pack-a-day smokers. Instead of showing them all of the negative things that cigarettes could do, they started showing people and they'd say, this is Todd. Todd quit smoking 6 months ago. And Todd's out and he's running, right? And he looks like he's in great shape and he's not coughing and he's not doing any of that. And then they started to show the same kind of medical stuff, pictures of lungs, all of that, the opposite side of the equation. They were showing a healthy, pink, beautiful lung and saying, believe it or not, this was a 2-pack-a-day smoker. After not more than 9 months of not smoking, this is what his lungs or her lungs started to look like. Well, I wouldn't be telling you this if the difference between the two rooms was not dramatic. But how dramatic it was is astounding, right? If you had a 5 or 10% better on one side versus the other, that's big time. But if it's 80, well, then you probably need to take notice. And that's literally where they were at. So how can you work with this? Well, you got to start asking yourself, Automatic negative thoughts are something that we deal with every single day. Everybody, whether you're addicted to something or you're not, automatic negative thoughts get into your head and they start wreaking havoc with your, with your emotions. And what to remember is this. We think about 60,000 individual thoughts a day. Isn't that rugged? It's such a tough thing to wrap your brain around.
Crazy.
But it really is,
That's
right?
a big number, man.
That is such a big number. And I believe in one of our, long ago, we talked about 50. But the stuff that's out there today, the most current, because we're always, reading the most updated, but they're saying 60,000 individual thoughts a day. But I want you to think for a second. Do you think you have 60,000 individual thoughts and then 60,000 thoughts on Tuesday that you didn't have on Monday? And then 60,000 thoughts on Wednesday that you didn't have on Monday and Tuesday? Because I got news for you. That ain't what's happening, right? You might have 60,000 thoughts a day, but 10 to 15,000 of them are ants. They're automatic negative thoughts that are beating the hell out of you. Yep. Thank you, Brandon Taylor. I appreciate you, bud. They're beating the hell out of you. And we do this day in, day out, right? Day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Well, the medical community has found some stuff out. So when ants are starting to crawl all over your brain, and obviously this makes you super uncomfortable. Do you know why? Because ants have a very unique thing that they do. They release chemicals in the brain. Now, if you think about dopamine that we know gets released in our brain to reinforce, for us, bad behavior, right? It's supposed to reinforce good behavior. For addicts, it reinforces bad behavior. Well, there are other chemicals that have the exact opposite effect, right? You can have chemicals released in your brain that make you sad. Do you think sad is a thought? Because I assure you it's not. Sadness can be brought on by thoughts, but it's a chemical reaction in the brain that says things aren't good. We're designed this way. Why? So that when we go through something that is really awful, we make sure we don't do it again. And how does that happen? Our brain floods our body floods our brain with chemicals that say bad, all bad. Doesn't feel good, does it? Good, don't do it again. Unfortunately, here's what happens. So let's say, I'm going to use Buddha as an example because I love him and I didn't see him in the comment section. No, he had a bad car wreck. I saw some pictures of it. It's absolutely astounding. You would not believe this car. And it's part of the problems he has physically. It's one of the reasons that led to the opioids. But absolutely unbelievable car wreck. So you go through this terrible accident and you feel the pain from it and you go through all of the injuries, all of that. On top of that, there is imprinted in the brain the memory of the accident, right? And your brain says, ooh, don't do this again. So it floods a ton of chemicals in there to make sure that whatever just happened, you don't do again. Now, your brain really doesn't figure stuff out the way the frontal lobe does. It's not going, no reason to punish the guy. It's a car wreck. It's not like he's going to do this every Friday, right? One of these ought to be enough. Unfortunately, we're now into the refractory part of the mind. What that means is this. So on Tuesday, you have the automatic negative thoughts about the car wreck. You know what? It was probably my fault. I was out all day. I was tired. I shouldn't have done it in the first place. And now I'm paying for all the stupid stuff that I did. And guess what your brain does? As far as your brain is concerned, you just wrecked the car again, right? As far as your brain is concerned, hey, he didn't learn. He didn't learn. I gave him all of this chemical that said, stop doing this. And here he is. He's done it again. Because our brain is so strong that these memories that we relive will bring on the same chemicals. So you ever have something happen that's so bad, you get cheated on, right? There's one of those like life-ending moments that we talked about the other day where you think, I'm never going to be the same. My life is over. Okay. Reliving that day after day after day can literally make you sick. And I don't mean figuratively speaking. When you've got ants crawling all over the brain, getting you to release chemicals that make you depressed, bad things happen. You don't eat right. You don't sleep right. All of these things, believe it or not, people, can lead to diseases that will kill you, right? Your brain can make you sick. It's horrible, but it's reality because the refractory part of the brain is punishing you for things that you've done in your past, in some cases 20 years ago. So how do you get over these? Well, the good news is this. If your brain can make you sick, logic would say, if you did the exact opposite thing, what's going to happen? Your brain can make you well. You can become healthier because of your thoughts. And I promise you, people, it's a fact. And I'm not saying it's a fact because I've mastered it. I'm saying it's a fact because there's research out there that documents this. Okay. So that refractory period after a memory, if it lasts 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's it, then your brain releases those bad chemicals, right, that make you feel like crap, and they're discouraging you from ever doing that stupid activity again. Boy, you get in a drunk driving car wreck. The brain is going to go, don't drink and drive. And it's going to make you feel guilty. It's going to make you feel shame. It's going to make you feel all of these things so that you don't get behind the wheel of a car drunk again, right? That's probably a good thing. Until the refractory period lasts 5 years. That refractory period needs to shrink because emotions, right, that come from really serious memories, what you got to realize is that memories are all tied to high emotions. Remember that time we were down at the lake and it was just sunny and we were out there and we were having such a good time and my girl came down and just looked beautiful. I remember that like it was yesterday. Do you know why you remember that like it was yesterday? Because it was a beautiful emotional experience. Most people remember their birth of the child like no other memory, right? That's not an accident. It's because the refractory period in our brain on really serious memories lasts forever. So when automatic negative thoughts begin to crawl all over your dome, they start doing damage. So how then do you have to look at this so that you can start making your brain make you healthy as opposed to going in the opposite direction? So if you let this refractory period go on for 5 months, so every day you're reliving this. Every day you're reliving it. You're getting the chemicals again and again and again, day after day after day. Okay, well now, people say, yeah, I ran into Mark. That dude's always in a bad mood, man. Every time you see that guy, he's in a bad mood because that memory is now causing your brain to release chemicals every single day. So the refractory period, right, has gone from feeling bad to a more permanent version of it, which makes that a mood. Dude is always in a bad mood, right? Now, if that bad mood, right, starts to last for 4, 5, 6 months, and you say, yeah, you know what? Honestly, Mark, you all right? No, I'm in a bad mood. Why are you in a bad mood? I don't know, but I've been in a bad mood for 6 months. Well, that bad mood now becomes a personality trait, right? Now it becomes part of who you are. This can literally change your makeup of who you are. So when we say you can change who you are, you can become a new human being. Well, then you better deal with crap instantly. Right? How do you deal with this? Well, you don't suffer in silence. When a memory comes up that is so bad, we'll go back to the car wreck. Let's say I get into a drinking, driving car wreck, and the next day I'm riddled with guilt. What do? Seriously, 100 out of 100 times, what do? Do we go to our significant other? Do we go to our best friends? Do we go to our parents? Do we go to all these people and go, hey, let me tell you what I did. That accident yesterday, all me. I was at a bar. I did 4 shots. Right? I had about 16 beers. I was watching a football game. By the time it was over, I was looped. And like an idiot, I got behind the wheel. No, we don't do that. No, we shut our pie hole. And we sit around the house and when people go, ooh, heard you got into a terrible wreck. Yeah, it was awful. Oh, you poor thing. And as they come at you with those kind of loving feelings, you would feel what? Crappier. Right? Now this is reinforcing this. And a few months down the road, people are going to be going, damn, Mark's always a jerk. Dude's never having a good day. Talk about negative. It's like being around Eeyore. You want to go outside, Mark? Probably just anyhow. You know, I mean, that's really where these things start to go.
Love it.
Like the Eeyore reference?
Yeah, I love it, man. It was awesome.
I don't get to work in Eeyore reference very often.
I don't think anybody does. Sorry.
I almost blew that all over the microphone. Thank you.
Good job.
So, if we deal with things when they come up, we actually deal with them. Now, how do you know if they're dealt with? Well, because the ants aren't going to start crawling all the hell over you 5 days a week. If they continue to do so, what do? You come to the realization that you have not worked through this problem, right? This problem is still jacking you up. Why? Because you haven't put it to bed. And the worse the memory, the more that's imprinted on you, the more ants it's going to create. It can create tens of millions of them. So 60,000 unique thoughts a day. Well, if half of them have to do with that accident, it's going to change your personality. It's going to change your life. It's going to change everything about who you are. Now, is it too late if you've been doing this for 10 or 15 years? Absolutely not. The fact that this can lead to you getting sick means that it can absolutely lead to you getting well. How do you feel about me running a little late?
No, let's just do it. Hey, yeah.
Okay.
And
We're going to kill the big red button,
Yeah.
but I want to get through this, people. So, because there's still some stuff that needs to be talked about. So I promise I'll talk like, one of those guys that.
Before you start that, let's just do this real quick. We got a new person here in the chat. Janai T says she's 10 days in. So
10 days.
10 days. Yes, exactly.
How good is that?
100%. And Brandon C actually made a great comment. He says, write down your thoughts. It can help, can help your brain. And it's
No question.
back to the journaling.
Who said that?
Yeah, I think you did.
Let me tell you something. Do you know how perfectly this dovetails? So here you are, and these automatic negative thoughts are killing you, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, Noise Opera, good to see you, brother. And you're thinking to yourself, how do I work through this? I went and talked to everybody. I talked to my significant other. I admitted the accident. I talked to this person. I admitted that. Okay, if that didn't get it done, maybe you need to work a little harder. So how do you do that? Well, take out a pen and a piece of paper and sit down. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the part of your brain that got imprinted on from the accident is not the part of your brain that will be writing down on paper. When you can take that thought and make it no longer emotion, but turn it into logic, amazing things happen. This is why when people reach out to my partner and I, and they say, I really need to talk. These people, honestly, if you knew how often you people go, oh man, you're amazing. No, I'm not. And neither is Mark. What happens is, believe it or not, 90% of the time when the ants are kicking our butt that bad, we waved bye-bye to logic a long time ago. Like people will say stuff to you and you go, really? Like this is where we're at? Now, I'm not picking on you because we do the same thing. You get into this illogical loop, right? Where the ants are just killing you. So someone says, stuck in it, right?
Like mud. And I mean, it just really is.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, that is exactly what it's. You are in a quagmire, just absolutely bogged down, and you can't get out of it because you waved bye to logic a long time ago. This is why we do things like the perspective, right? We do the 1 to 10 perspective because, I've had people say to me, I'm really angry and I'm not even really sure how I can get over this. All right, what's going on? I lent $150 to a friend of mine about 2 years ago, and the guy hasn't paid me back, and I see him at parties, right? And the guy just walks in and he acts like nothing's happened, and he's just, going off. And I said to him, has it occurred to you he literally might have forgotten? Like I realized that this is the biggest thing in the world to you right now, right? This automatic negative thought has been killing you for how long? But your friend might not even remember. So you're harboring all of this hate. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this cat owing you $150, right? Losing your best friend, losing a family member, whatever. My dad, that's a 10. Where is this 150 lying? And you ask people this question and they go, oh, damn, it's really not that big a deal. Well, that doesn't make us Nostradamus. What it means is that when you're into that ant thing, there's no getting out of your own way. So think about the human condition. Think about us as human beings. So we live in this world where all of these ants, all of these emotions start killing us, right? They're designed to do a specific thing. Let's say you're an antelope, right? And a big cat takes a look at you, right? Giving you the stink eye at the watering hole, and boom, the thing starts chasing you. You run off at top speed, right? You've all watched it on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. They bang a couple of lefts, a couple of rights, and they somehow get away from this big cat. Do you know what they're doing 40 seconds later? Grazing. They're not sitting around going, good Lord.
Yeah.
Man, you should have seen it. This cat almost got me. Man, I'm never going back down to the watering hole.
They move on.
Idiot. Should I even get there? No.
They just move on.
That stress hits them like a ton of bricks. That stress says, You need to stop doing what you're doing right now or you're in trouble. That's what it's supposed to do to us.
Yep.
The difference is we don't graze 5 minutes later. I mean, sometimes you do, right? Sometimes you do. But what if the person that really makes you angry, right? The person that really brings on that emotion in you, that person doesn't run into you at parties once every 2 or 3 months? What if they sit in a cubicle 3 feet away from you at work and you're looking over there going, I can't believe this dude's got the huevos to sit 5 feet from me, owing me $150 and not saying anything every time you go to work. This is going to be ruining your life, your health, everything. People, we're not meant to hold on to things for years. It's not how we were designed. So why do we do it? How come the animals don't? I'll tell you why. Because this part of our dome, right here in the front, right? Our frontal lobe is so different than anything else that's on this planet, right? I don't think that, squirrel ever sits down and thinks, you know what, I wonder what my place in this universe is. I mean, am I just here to chase mice in the garage and get hefted once a day in a basket? Or is there more to life than this? Right?
Yeah.
That's not that, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Hey,
that's us.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's who we are. We have gotten to a point as humans that we can take, you talk about building a mountain out of a molehill. We could build a planet out of a guy owing us $150. Do you know why I use this as an example? October of last year, I had a really bad October. And then I had a really ugly beginning of November. So on the 1st of December, I came on and I did a show and I said, there are 2 people that I can't forgive. And I've been carrying this around for decades. And every single day, without fail, I visit this again. I can't get away from it. Do you know what one of those people did to me? Owed me $150.
Yeah.
I kid you not, people. 8 years in prison, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about it. $150. I could do $700 a day in heroin, right? And do that for 3 decades and not get tripped up on the millions of dollars that I blew. But that 150 was destroying me. It was destroying me. So you know what I did? I forgave the cat. Truthfully, I got rid of it. Not because of me, because of somebody in the boat. Somebody on the boat put a comment, and he's no longer a crew member on the boat, but he left a comment about this big about forgiveness. And he said, you know what, man? It's got nothing to do with this dude. This is about you. It's got nothing to do with this guy. I didn't tell everybody it was 150. I just said that this guy had wronged me so badly. I remember getting an email because I came back in January and I said, you know what? I'm really at peace over this. I really am. I'm at peace over this. And I got an email from somebody that said, like, there were 4 guesses of what they thought this person did. And I would have a tough time saying them on the big red button. Suffice to say, these people were thinking like the top of the food chain, just under, like manslaughter. They thought that these people had done really ridiculous things to my family or whatever. And it was embarrassing because I realized that that's how I came across. This was such a big deal in my life. It was $150, people. It was $150 that I loaned this guy.
Perspective.
In 02.
02? That's a long time ago.
2002. Oh yeah, 2002.
Wow, hold on to it that long.
I got around.
Wow.
Yeah, I got around to getting this out of my head in 2021. Do you have any idea the damage I did to myself in 19 years? My gut says that a lot of you here have got something like that.
Very similar. All of us have to.
Right?
We're all carrying that stuff.
Well, and the damage that this did to me, Mark, what if it was somebody that cheated on you, right? What if it's one of those things that, I mean, if you really are holding on to that kind of ugly, if you are, don't suffer in silence.
Right.
Right? You know how you get rid of an automatic negative thought? Honestly, sunlight kills them.
Oh yeah. Yes. Light will smack the dark every time. I'm telling you.
No question.
Every time it wins. You guys, you have to understand that, guys. I mean, and to your point there, all of us have that kind of a story, and and when we're talking about stuff like money, all right, that really does lead you down another road. It's perspective that you got to, as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that if I've got money to loan somebody, I've got money to give them. So I don't loan money. If I give you money, I have no expectation of getting it back.
Well, and that is the right way to handle it. And here was my justification, and it's stupid, but here's my justification. Oh, aka Heather Joy says, tomorrow night, people, there's no lifeboat tomorrow night. But if you go over to Heather Joy's channel tomorrow night, same bat time, not same squirrel time, but the same time of day, she's going to have a show over there. So please, people, stop by and check that out. It's going to be, it is awesome. I love the idea. It keeps everybody together. Really a beautiful concept. No, Mark, so here was my trip up. I said to him when I lent him the money, hey, you can have this. No, I want to pay you back. I said, no, don't do that. Because then if you don't pay me back, right, I'll be in my feelings. Just take the money, right? And the other thing that I said to him, and you talk about just a hypocrite, I said to the guy, tell me this isn't for dope. I'm not joking, you people. I'm not even being funny or saying this for effect. When I said that, I had a needle in my arm. But I said to him, I don't care if it's for dope. But he had this great story. It was for, first Christmas with his wife, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was for dope. How do I have any right to be upset about that?
Yeah.
All the people on this planet, all of the lies I told to get money for dope. Yeah. How do I have the right? Right? I mean, for real.
Yeah.
How do I have? But go ahead.
No, it is. It's a very valid point that he's talking about here, guys. I mean, honestly, we all can relate to this, I think. And I think if you think about it, you're going to come to find out that your mind really does do that, and you have to stop it. You have to recognize that that's happening. You have to stop it. How do we stop it? We think about it, and then what helps us? You can write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Get out your notebook. Seriously, and if you have to write it down and talk about why it's hurting you or whatever, 15, 20, 30 times, you just do it.
Yep.
The insane thing is this. So I'm working with Q, and he said to me, Q was one of the first people to ever introduce the concept of an automatic negative thought and what these things can do to you and blah, blah, blah. So he said to me, if there's people you got to forgive, I want you to make a list of them. But I didn't put this dude on that list. It wasn't an accident. There was one other person of the opposite gender. Didn't put her on there either. Why? Because the deep down, I don't want to know, I guess hate. I don't know what else you could call it.
That's what it is. It really is.
It was justified hate.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, I was so in the right. So I want to leave you with a concept, people. This whole in the right thing. Did you ever come up to a 4-way stop? And you're the first car at that 4-way stop, right? You get to go first, don't you? That's right. Okay. However, if there's an 18-wheeler barreling down that does not look like it's going to stop, are you going to go because you're in the right? Because it's going to kill you. Just like any of these stupid things that we cling on to, right? And love the negative. Truthfully, the best way to kill an ant is to just let sunlight on it. The positive will kill the negative every single time. Yep. So, at the beginning of this talk, we talked about that those people that were trying to quit smoking on both sides of the hallway. And one side was getting just all of the reasons that if they didn't quit, this would happen. And on the other side, it was all of the positive things that your life can be if you quit. One of the hardest things about getting off dope or getting off alcohol is we convince ourselves, which is BS, by the way, but we convince ourselves that the only reason I have fun, right? Do you know how many times a week somebody says to me, yeah, I'm going to quit because I know I need to, but man, my fun's over. Like, I get this. I'm not kidding you, a half a dozen times a week. Someone will say to me, well, I just realized I got to quit. I know I'm not going to have fun anymore. Oh yeah, that whole strung out thing's a ball, right? But we convince ourselves, because this is what our brain wants us to believe, that all of the fun we've ever had, right, is attached to drugs. Every great story we have is attached to drugs. Here's what I found out. Yeah, every great story that I could remember for 30 years had something to do with dope. You know why? because I was on dope for 30 years. For real. I mean, obviously, if you have one good day in that 30 years, you could say, yeah, you know what? The only time I ever had fun is when I was high. Well, it's because you were never not high. Since getting sober, the number of days in my life that have been amazing outnumber, I mean, all of the ones that I had before. I'm not kidding. It's amazing to me how many things happen that you go, oh, it's just awesome. And sometimes they can be the smallest things in the entire world because you learn to appreciate things like that. But more important than all of those positive days, the number of negative ones that I've had that were so negative that they were crippling me, that ants were crawling all over me. You can go back and watch them, people. I mean, Mark and I have been here damn near every day for closing in on a year and a half, right?
Yep.
How many shows did I do where I said I really want to get high or I'm really hurting or whatever? 3 or 4?
Oh, at least. Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you look at the number of days that you have that are good versus the number of days that you have that are on the opposite side of that equation, it's unbelievable. You know what? Is Tommy Bird here tonight?
I haven't seen Tommy Bird, and I was going to ask that.
I'm gonna have to shoot him an email. Could be date night,
Jackson,
but I do always worry.
Jackson made a good comment though. He said we must forgive ourselves. I think it's really kind of where you got to start.
Well, and that's honestly that's the whole point of all of this. To forget that when you have a memory that is so imprinted on you that it's causing ants, it's almost always one of two things. There's something that you can't get over that's your fault, or there's something that you can't get over that's someone else's. Honestly. I mean, think about it honestly. That's what it comes down to. And someone will say, no, it's not that. It was this traumatic thing. Okay, well, where did the trauma come from? Who's to blame for the trauma? Because I promise you, when you take it down to its base, there's always a situation of I was wronged or I was in the wrong, and I can't deal with one or the other. So Jackson's right. You got to forgive yourself. How do you do that? What you want to do is keep it inside, right? Hold all of that in, not talk to anybody, and just grit your teeth. And
that's right.
The ants will destroy your health. They'll destroy your life. They'll destroy your happiness, and they will kick the hell out of your sobriety.
Yeah, it's never good. It never when you do that stuff, guys. It just doesn't work that way, you know?
Hello, Andrea O'Neill.
Yep, I was getting ready to say that. Good to see you.
Beat you to it.
You did.
Every once in a while, even the blind squirrel will find it.
But yeah, it's been a good show tonight, guys. I think that this is
a little late.
This is a topic that, you know, a lot of people actually shy away from, and for the life of me, I don't know why. And I think the reason, I guess I do kind of, is that they don't want to have to admit themselves that they got to do this. You know,
right?
It's hard to put a spotlight on your own issue, and when you can get yourself to a position that you're willing to do that, you are so far ahead of the game, guys. I mean, when you're the first one that's going to point out, hey, I just screwed up there. You know, if you're the first one to say it, or maybe the first time somebody says it to you, you react to it. You know, most people get very defensive when they point out when you're wrong.
Yeah,
you know, they just do. People.
Thank you. So. Thank you for saying that too, because this is a point that I know I'm running really late, but it's such a good point. You know, people from the time of 15, right? And we start getting higher, we start doing whatever. At some point, every addict realizes that if somebody says to you, man, you look high, especially if you've told people you're trying to quit or whatever, the fastest way to make that conversation go away is to go like this. The hell are you talking about? Man, I'm trying to get sober and you're still not believing me, right? You get indignant and people go, hey, relax. All right, man. I just said you looked it or whatever. And unfortunately, it becomes a learned behavior. And it's the truth. It's a very difficult thing to take any kind of criticism constructively and deal with it. Or if somebody points out something you need to work on, it's a tough thing. It really is. I know I'm not very good at it. Johnny Law is funny. Did you see this?
Yeah.
He said, okay, good. That's what I've been doing. What, wait a minute.
Love it. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Says, hey there, love your shows. Wages World, back at you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you guys, I haven't said this in a minute, but thank you guys for trusting me enough to come over here and check this out. This is really important to me. There was a time where I thought about just doing this and not doing that channel anymore. And And I quickly realized that that's not going to happen because, you know,
Because you got a great family over there.
I do, and I have a lot of love on both of it, and I want both love. So, just so you know,
Fast paced. I don't know that I've ever said hello to fast paced. Have you?
Nope.
Welcome to the lifeboat, fast paced.
That's right.
All right, people. Make sure you hit that that thumbs up deal on the way out of here. Hit the bell for notification. If you are not subscribed, shame on you.
We love all
About
you guys.
20% of you are not subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications. That way you won't miss the lifeboat anytime we go live, which is at least 5 days a week. And you can really help the boat a great deal by doing these small things. Hitting the like button, remembering to do that, leaving comments. All of these things help push us out farther. And you know something, people? Somewhere right now, someone is sitting in a living room with not enough money to get the next bag, wondering how they're going to get high and hate in their life. And they so badly need this boat. Please do what you can. And Lady Crispin has showed a cat in a basket or a box, but yes. The Ultra Maga says, I loved getting high way too much, more than anything. And I'm glad things worked out how they did for me. Now I have to, now I don't have to chase that feeling anymore. You know what? I think you just probably said what every single person here could say. It was more important to us than oxygen. It was more important to us than water. It was the most important thing in our life. And once you get over that, and once you move on from that, you do end up with a bunch of ants. You have to deal with the guilt from that. You have to deal with all of that. If you try to do that alone, we'll still be here when you relapse. I promise you we will. We're not going to go anywhere and we'll help you. But if you want to come and talk to us before you do that and work through all of those things, there's a really good chance that we will be adding your sobriety days to our
number down there.
Our running total, which is just awesome. It really is.
Here I'll say it out loud. We got, and this is just, you can't get down to exact days, guys. It's hard. So we got to kind of estimate by the amount of people that subscribe here. But this is roughly what we have. 1,244,072 days sobriety between all of us. And if there ain't some advice in some of that, then I don't know where we're going to find it. That's a lot of time.
Every single time I come here, I learn. Every single time I come here, I learn. And you know what, people? When you stop learning, you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You really are. You're going in the wrong direction. Alrighty, people. So it is Friday night on the lifeboat. I realize it's Tuesday, but that means we take the next 2 days off. I'm going to stop by tomorrow night and on Heather's channel. So I want to check that out. Put my feet up, so to speak.
I probably will too. I'll
probably like
check
to
in
stop by there.
Yep.
Absolutely. So people, you heard that. I'm going to post that again over on the safe harbor, and we may even post it here on the boat so that people know that they got a place to go on the days off. Thank you so much for putting up with us running a little late and for probably not the greatest feel-good start to this show, but you all stuck around, and I think that's really impressive. It says a lot about who you all are. Jenna T, so glad to see you. You know what?
Hang in there.
Grows.
Yep.
Alrighty, people. We will be back Friday night.
Right.
Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
And this is a cat in a basket. Is that a tail? Is that a paw? It's a tail. Good night, everybody. We love you.